Chapter 10, the Eucharistic Sacrifice. Christ loved me and gave himself up for me. A. Mass as a meal. Why we call Mass as a meal? We call Mass as a meal because it has a table, which we call it altar. It has bread and wine, and also there are people gathered together. B. Mass as a sacrifice. We call that Mass is a sacrifice because it has an altar, it has a victim, that is Jesus. It also has a priest who presides over the Mass. And number 4, the one perfect sacrifice of Christ is made present and offered to the Father. C. Sacrifice of the cross and sacrifice of the Mass. In both these events, sacrifice of the cross and the sacrifice of the Mass, we have one priest, that is Jesus, one sacrifice, that is Jesus himself, and Jesus himself offered to the Father. So, in the sacrifice of the cross and sacrifice of the Mass, we have Jesus in both these two events. And in the sacrifice of the cross, we have got number 2, cross. Jesus offered himself in a painful and bloody sacrifice. And in the Mass, we have Jesus offers himself again, but in an unbloody manner. That means he doesn't shed his blood as he did on the cross. Number 4, manner of offering sacrifice is different, but the sacrifice is the same. D. Words of consecration. Number 1, in the words of consecration, it is used by Jesus at the Last Supper. And these words are being repeated by the priest during the gift at Mass. And change bread and wine into Jesus' body, blood, soul, and divinity. So this is what happened when the words of consecration are being said by the priest. The bread and wine is changed into the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ. Number 4. Remind us of Jesus' sacrifice. He said that, for example, given for you, or will be shed for you and for all, so that sins may be forgiven. So these are the words that remind us of Jesus' sacrifice. F. Prepare for Mass. So how shall we prepare for this Mass? To prepare for this Mass, we go to confession frequently. We read the Gospel passage that will be used at Mass on the previous day. We try to get in touch early to pray and prepare. That means we go to church a little early before the Mass. And we also ask for Mary's intercession. We have an obligation to receive communion frequently, at least once during Easter season. Every Holy Communion is a tremendous gift because it is Jesus himself who gave himself to us. So let us not take for granted for being able to freely worship God at Mass. God deserves our worship at Mass. We may not always feel like going to Mass, but we can ask God to give us the grace to desire it more. There will always be things in life that we don't feel like doing, but we should still do them. Now here there is an activity for you. Try to prepare a chart comparing the Mass and the cross of Calvary. I hope this video is very clear. I believe that you have understood the meaning of the Eucharistic sacrifice.